Have you ever wondered how or why leaves change color in the fall? Well, today we will find out and see how this beautiful season affects countless insects, birds, mammals, amphibians, and plants in a Pennsylvanian forest called Woodland World. This story begins with a carpenter bee on a passion flower. The passion flower has also attracted a bumblebee that is roughly the size of the carpenter bee's head. After the carpenter bee leaves, a spotted cucumber beetle crawls onto the flower. Despite it being later in the year, there are still many flowers for these insects to pollinate. The largest flower species blooming right now is the swamp rose mallow, and inside of them there are some more bees. Those green wasp-like insects are also bees, known as sweat bees, but we will learn more about them later. Here there is also an assassin bug, a European earwig, a sawfly, and a large spider species. Back in the forest is the last gray catbird we will see this year, as it will soon migrate south. Now there are new flowers blooming, such as this figwort and this ironweed, which is a stunning purple. On the last day of August, we see a northern flicker in a dead tree, along with an eastern wood pewee. Like the gray catbird, it will also migrate to the south. Some migratory birds are beginning to fly through Woodland World, such as this American redstart and this black-throated green warbler. At this point in time, the forest is still green, just a darker green. On one of the leaves is a candy-striped leafhopper, which is so beautiful that it does not even look real. Despite it being late summer, insects are still plentiful. These yellow jackets are still flying in and out of their hole. A moth in the genus Crambus is feeding from a mist flower. An oil beetle is looking around. A field cricket is standing still. This conehead katydid is looking like an alien, and another leafhopper species is crawling on a leaf. Although some plants are beginning to get berries, a sign of an inevitable fall. Meanwhile, resting on a flower is a white-faced hornet. This is actually not a true hornet species, for there are no true hornets native to North America. Instead, this is a large kind of yellow jacket. Adults feed on nectar, but also chew up insects to feed to their larvae. Right now, it is early in the morning, and there is also a juvenile red-tailed hawk. This one likely hatched here in Woodland World. Red-tailed hawks mainly eat mammals, but may also try to come after birds, like this tufted titmouse. At this point in time, many aster species are beginning to bloom, along with snakeroot, which is one of the last flowers of the year. This beautiful wasp is likely in the genus Cryptoneura, which would make it a parasitic wasp. And nearby is a white M hair-streaked butterfly with a damaged wing. It is now one of the final days of summer. The temperature is getting cooler, there is less direct sunlight, and it is now fall. As the chlorophyll in some leaves begins to break down, orange and yellow pigments are revealed. Although other leaves turn red because of chemical changes. A northern parula is passing through as we are deeper into songbird migration. Nearby is another northern flicker and a Carolina chickadee, both of which are found year-round. They are also joined by a blue jay and a yellow-bellied sapsucker. Also, this is a migratory bird known as a ruby-crowned kinglet. Underneath this American robin is a patch of flowers. They attract bees like this honeybee, which is actually non-native to North America and is semi-domesticated. Here in Pennsylvania, there are a little over 400 native bee species. Although that is nothing compared to the world's over 20,000 known species of bees. These little sweat bees we've been seeing belong to the family Halictidae, which is the second largest bee family on Earth. There are so many bees feeding from these flowers that they attract predators like spiders, such as this funnel weaver spider. The bees are not the only ones here for nectar. There are also yellow jackets. These little gnats. And a small wasp. In fact, there is even a fly trying to mimic a yellow jacket. But anyway, back to sweat bees. Like the majority of bees, they do not produce honey, and most do not live in colonies, but are instead solitary. They sometimes land on people because they are attracted to the salts in human sweat. And that is where the name sweat bee comes from. These bees do have stingers, but their sting is very mild, and they are not aggressive. This one belongs to the genus Lasioglossum, which may be the largest genus of bee in the world. And there are several genuses which this green bee could possibly belong to. On the other hand, this is not a sweat bee, but instead a small carpenter bee. Near the top of this hill is a carnivoran in the same family as coatis and kinkajous. This is a northern raccoon. They are one of 3 raccoon species and can be found further north than any other member of the family Procyon. Their range spans from Panama to Canada. Northern raccoons are also nocturnal, and it is uncommon to see them during the day like this. They have front paws that act like hands, and even though they lack thumbs, they can still manipulate objects very easily. Thanks to their dexterous front paws, their sharp claws, and the ability to rotate their ankles 180 degrees, raccoons are very good climbers. Not only are they good climbers, but they are also very strong for their size and are very intelligent, being as smart as a human toddler. Just by looking into this one's eyes, it is very clear that this is an extremely self-aware animal. Meanwhile, this eastern gray squirrel has a big nut in its mouth. Down in a meadow made up of aster flowers lies a brown-headed owlet caterpillar. This colorful species feeds primarily on goldenrod and aster plants. Today, the forest is beginning to emit a yellow glow, and eastern chipmunks are stuffing their cheek pouches with nuts. According to northernwoodlands.org, these little ground squirrels can fit as many as 12 acorns into their cheek pouch. That translates to 31 corn kernels or 70 sunflower seeds. Speaking of seeds, at this point, a lot of flowering plants are now producing them. Also, the forest looks a lot more colorful than the last time we saw it. Earlier, we talked about how leaves change color, but the reason why is because of the trees removing as many nutrients as possible from their leaves to prepare for the winter. In this area, most trees do not keep their leaves in the first place because they are vulnerable to damage. Climbing down a tree is a white-breasted nuthatch. Landing in a smaller one is a female northern cardinal who is joined by white-throated sparrows who will spend the winter here. There are some more yellow-bellied sapsuckers. This one appears to be feeding on poison ivy berries. Like most animals, they are immune to the plant's irritating oils. On another tree is a red-bellied woodpecker. There are actually still flowers blooming. Just not many. Both this eastern gray squirrel and this eastern chipmunk must now prepare for the impending winter. Also, the forest is at its peak coloration, so enjoy this time while it lasts. Under the ground, eastern red-backed salamanders can now be found closer to the surface. This individual is an extra colorful one. They are fully terrestrial and lay their eggs on land, either in soil or in rotten logs. This too is a red-backed salamander, just a different phase known as a leadback. Despite living only on land, they do not have lungs, but instead breathe through their skin. These salamanders are also very common. A study in a New Hampshire forest found that there were 1,000 per acre. Nearby is a carpenter ant colony. This species is very orange and large. The colony is also producing males, which are the skinny ants with wings, along with queens, which are the big ants with wings. They will eventually mate during a nuptial flight. Meanwhile, above ground, a lot of leaves have fallen, although the American beech trees still have green leaves. Male ruby-crowned kinglets possess red crowns, which they hide underneath their feathers most of the time. They are also the only member of their genus, and are the most distantly related of the world's 6 kinglet species. The only other found in North America is the golden-crowned kinglet. This is a migrant we haven't seen before, a blue-headed vireo. There is also a brown creeper, a dark-eyed junco, and some more white-throated sparrows, all of which are staying for the winter. Eastern towhees are also wintering in Woodland World. In an almost empty forest, the last insect we see is a humble woolly bear caterpillar. A lot of time has passed. It is now November, and most of the leaves have fallen. But another wintering bird has arrived. Winter wrens. It wasn't until 2010 that they were thought to be the same species as the almost identical Pacific and Eurasian wrens. Lastly, this is a native slug, which is difficult to find in this area. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.